Meltdowns after school, homework battles, emotional roller coasters, tantrums all over the place. You're doing everything you can and you're still wondering, why isn't this working? The IEP must be wrong. Everything is falling apart at home and our teachers are telling us everything's perfectly fine. Why isn't the IEP helping us at home? So I'm gonna break this down for you. I'm gonna go through all my notes and I'm gonna help you at home. I'm Amanda Farrar, an education specialist, an IEP expert, and a parent coach. I help families of neurodivergent children create calm, supportive homes while helping you understand their IEP and how you can implement that inside your home. But let's be honest, you have a 25-page document and you're supposed to carry this thing into home without it being explained to you. How do these accommodations work? What can you do to help your child at home so meltdowns aren't happening on the regular? That's my job. That's what I'm here to help. Here's the thing that most parents were never told. The IEP or the 504 plan, it wasn't meant to help at home. It was meant for school, the school systems, the education part of the child's day, and it's not meant to be a support at home. But the good news is, if it helps your child at school, chances are it will help your child at home. Think of me as like the translator. I help you take what's in the IEP and take the parts of it that work for at school for you to take and put in place at home. So bear with me, I'm gonna go through my notes, and sitting here is like super awkward because I'm used to being up and teaching your children all day long. So I'm gonna go look through my notes as I'm talking to you. So if I'm looking down, you know why. Why the IEP isn't helping at home. So let's talk about the 4 common reasons why the IEP isn't helping you where it matters most or where you're impacted most at home. Reason 1, like I said earlier, it's meant for school. It's not meant for real life. So the accommodations that are in there, they could help with what happens at home. Homework routines, bedtime routines, transitions from one activity to another, but they may not be what the child needs at home. That's where I come in. Reason number 2, kids hold it together all day at school. And then when they get home, we call it their release time. You're their safe place. Home is their safe place. So imagine being wound up all day long and then you come home and your parents are putting demands on you. That's why the meltdowns are happening when they get home from school. It doesn't make the meltdowns any easier, and it doesn't tell you how to handle the meltdown. Reason number 3, no one told you how to implement it. Let's be honest. Your case manager, your special education teacher, their job is to hold the IEPs, but their job is really to teach your children. So they don't have time to put into calling parents, here's how you implement your IEP, here's what you do at home. So that's where I come into place. I help you to implement these things and put them in place in your home. You weren't handed the step-by-step plan for real life. So that's where I come in to help you implement these plans for your real life so that you don't have to manage all the meltdowns alone. Reason number 4, the IEP does not address real life at-home struggles. If the goals are all about reading, writing, math, or maybe a mixture of the 3 or maybe just the 1, it's not teaching your child how to deal with transitions at home, homework time at home, dealing with your siblings when you don't want to share or you need time to yourself because you're dysregulated after a long day of school. You need support beyond the school walls, and that's what I'm here for, support beyond the school walls. So I'm going to give you the tools that you could actually put into place tonight. What I want you to do is go find your child's IEP and look at the accommodations section. I would say present levels of performance, accommodations page, which is your service page, are probably some of the most important parts of your IEP. Think of it as like a roadmap. It's teaching you how to work with your child or showing your teachers how to work with your child within the parameters of their IEP. So I want you to take one of those accommodations and see if you can implement those into your nighttime routine or into wherever the biggest struggle that you're having right now. So think of your biggest struggle and go grab your IEP and then break down where you can put one of the accommodations into place. Also, if you're looking at your child's IEP right now and you're thinking, there's no accommodation for that. I'm not seeing accommodations. That's a red flag. I know in one of my freebies, I gave you a red flag checklist. That's a really big red flag. If you don't have accommodations or your child doesn't have accommodations in their IEP, that's something we can also look at together. But for the sake of this mini course, I just want to get into accommodations that could support in your area of struggle. So let's say, for example, your child requires movement breaks and it's homework time and your child is absolutely melting down every 2 seconds because they don't want to finish their homework. Okay, so we need to look at that. My child requires movement to access in school, and I'm asking them to do a school-based thing. Why can't they just sit still? Oh my gosh, you're so frustrating. So then it becomes a big old meltdown. Everybody's pissed off at everybody, and your child's feeling frustrated, you're frustrated, and your whole home feels it. It's like walking on eggshells every 5 seconds. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna implement movement breaks. You can grab a little visual timer, set it for 5 minutes, and your child's required to work for 5 minutes. Once they have the 5 minutes, then they get a break. Set the timer again. You get a 2-minute break, and then we're right back to the table to finish working. Understand that there's things that could be needed during homework time. It could be a wiggle chair. It could be one of my favorites, like a hokey stool. Things that help your child be able to move while it is that they're while they're actually working. I'm the same. I need to move. Sitting here having this is crazy for me, but we need to think of our children and what they need. So step 2 is to ask, do I have anything like this at home? If your answer is no, that's your gap. So that's where we need to work to support them at home. If you don't have the movement break during their homework time, that explains why they're struggling, because that's a need that they need to have met both in school and at home. That's the bridge. That's what we're trying to find, the common ground, so that we can support them to be successful not only at school, but at home. So step 3, mirror that support at home. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. You're going to take the gap, you're going to fill the gap with their need, and then you're going to mirror the supports at home. Child requires movement breaks. You're going to provide them the movement break along with the visual timer, and then they're going to complete the work. You've actually given them more accommodations than what's needed. Then you take those things and you write them down if they're not in their IEP, and then you can take that back to the team, and then you could say, hey, I noticed that when we're doing homework, they need movement breaks, they need a visual timer, they need the work-play model. Those are 3 accommodations that may not be in their IEP, but you realize at home that they need. I can get into so much more if your IEP doesn't have these things in place. And you can use your teacher as a resource to say, hey, I noticed these. Is this in place in their IEP? I didn't notice it. How can we get this inside their IEP? So this one alignment can make such a huge difference. It's not about making your home feel like a classroom or like it needs to be super structured and routine. It's not about that. It's about giving your child what they need when they need it, and then eliminating that behavior. Because what you really don't realize is behaviors really start way sooner than the actual behavior. We call those the antecedents. What came before the behavior? And most of the time it's when things are not in place. When a child doesn't know that the supports are going to be available to him, chances are you're going to have the meltdowns that you might be seeing now. So I know I just touched on one specific area, maybe a few accommodations, but you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much more. I am losing my mind with this child at home, but you really want to have a place of calm and comfort with your child and be able to be a safe place, and home to be a safe place. So with all of that, if you're just still like, I'm losing my mind, I need help, and that little bit was helpful for you, that's where I come into play.